The European Union is possibly as bad as China, just smaller, okay? It's terrible what they do to us.
You know, you think of the European Union, very friendly, they rip us off. It's so sad to see. It's so pathetic. The European Union's it was formed in order to screw the United States.
Trump is going all out with the criticism. He is threatening the European Union with his favorite weapon, tariffs.
Imagine this. You're casually scrolling through Signal, and suddenly, boom, you're added to a secret group chat. But not just any chat. This one includes the Vice President of the United States, the Defense Secretary, and the Secretary of State. And they're openly discussing launching military strikes before they even happen. Sounds like a spy thriller, right? But this is real. This happened. And what's even more shocking, it wasn't just about war. It exposed something bigger. How much Trump's team really hates Europe. So what's going on here? Why does Trump's administration see Europe as a bunch of freeloaders? And is there any truth to it? Let's break it down. The man who stumbled into this secret chat? Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic. According to him, he was mistakenly added to a Signal group called Houthi PC Small Group, where high-level U.S. officials were discussing airstrikes on Yemen's Houthi rebels. They even shared operational details before the strikes happened. That's a jaw-dropping national security failure. But the real bombshell? The messages revealed that Trump's team had total disdain for Europe. Vice President J.D. Vance said, "I don't want to bail Europe out again." Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth agreed, calling European freeloading pathetic. And then Trump's Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, even suggested that Europe should pay the U.S. for the airstrikes. This hostility isn't new. Trump has been bashing Europe for years. Just last month, he claimed the European Union was formed to screw the United States. And his allies? They've doubled down. On Sunday, J.D. Vance suggested America should annex Greenland because Denmark is not a good ally. Meanwhile, Trump's Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff, called Europe dysfunctional and even suggested that the U.S. should replace Europe with Gulf monarchies. So why this deep-rooted resentment? One word, freeloading. Is Europe really a freeloader? Trump's biggest gripe, that Europe benefits from America's power without pulling its weight. One, NATO defense spending. The U.S. spends way more on defense than most NATO countries. Trump, and even some of his predecessors, have complained that Europe underfunds its military, assuming America will bail them out if things go south. Two, global trade in the U.S. Navy. America's Navy guarantees the safety of global trade routes. And guess who benefits the most? Europe. While only 3% of U.S. trade runs through the Suez Canal, a staggering 40% of Europe's trade does. 3, trade deficit with the EU. Trump argues that the EU exploits American consumers. The U.S. buys European goods, but Europe doesn't buy enough American products in return. In his view, that's economic freeloading. At first glance, these complaints seem legit. But here's the twist. The real reason America spends so much. Here's the thing. The U.S. doesn't pump trillions into its military because it cares about Europe. It does it because it benefits America. The U.S. wants to maintain military dominance, especially against China. Keeping a presence in the Middle East isn't just about protecting trade. It's about controlling the region and keeping pressure on Iran. And the dollar's dominance as the world's reserve currency? It's a deliberate strategy, not a freebie for Europe. In other words, America isn't a generous hegemon. It's a strategic one. The benefits for Europe? Just a side effect. Now with Trump in the White House, the future of America's alliances hangs in the balance. His administration has made it clear that they view Europe as a liability rather than an asset. And the rhetoric against NATO, the EU, and transatlantic trade partnerships has intensified. Will the U.S. continue stepping back from Europe, leaving the continent to fend for itself in defense and trade? Or is Trump using this aggressive stance as a bargaining chip to force Europe into contributing more? Next 4 years could redefine the global order. If tensions escalate, we might see a historic shift in alliances, perhaps even a Europe that no longer relies on the U.S. for security. So what do you think? Will Trump's America sever ties with Europe, or is this just part of his negotiation strategy? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into global politics.